What's up, Angel? Fernando, I see you. Junior Moreno, Gus, Daniel Smith. We just letting everybody get in here. Let's talk some boxing. We're talking about the PBC robberies. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about just open boxing talk. So whatever you guys want to ask, let's just go ahead and start getting some open boxing talk. Let's talk PBC robberies, questions, comments, concerns. We can just dig into everything today. Let's get it. Let's get it. Randy C. Ugas was robbed. PBC don't like Cuban boxers. You're absolutely right. Jessica, I see you. So, PBC don't like Cuban boxer. It is Landy Lotta proved that. Jordinis Ugas proved that. That Porter versus Ugas was that was bad. And that was, now just answer in the chat for real. Yes or no? Did Sean Porter get dropped in that fight? Because I still have a lot of fanboys out here saying he didn't get dropped. I thought he got dropped. Did he get dropped? Because the ref was bad. The ref didn't call it. Angel says, yes, he did get dropped. Danny Lopez, hell yeah, he got dropped. Saul, yes, the punch landed. It was a punch that dropped him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody. Brandon, absolutely. Now, let me ask you guys, is Jordinis Ugas a legitimate welterweight right now? Like, is he a top contender? Like, I rank Ugas above Sean Porter right now. I put Ugas up there with, Thurman, Spence, Crawford, all the big dogs. I'm not saying he could beat these guys. I'm saying he can compete with these guys. Of course, Keith and Gus Aguino says Keith Thurman tried defending Porter, saying it was a slip. Keith Thurman, he doesn't want any real competition. Randy C wasn't busy enough. I agree that he should have been busier, but at the end of the day, he was winning those rounds cleanly and convincingly. And I think the vast amount of people basically saw that. The Hornet Return says, I love the sport, but it's becoming to be harder to take boxing serious. The level of foolishness is unreal. Absolutely. I feel the same way. Rob34, lights out. I see you. What's up? Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's harder to take the sport seriously when you have all these robberies. Tyson Fury got robbed by Deontay Wilder, PBC fighter. It's the same thing. I mean, I don't know why these robberies keep happening and what's going on. Like, the PBC keep robbing guys. I'm starting to think, Kurt Santos says the reason Porter fought that way because Ugas is very strong. Absolutely. He stayed on his back foot the whole time. Sean Porter stayed on his back foot the whole time. He was not wanting to engage with Ugas, and when he did, he was in and out. He didn't rush in with Ugas because he felt the power. Gus says, do you think Mikey will get robbed if the fight goes to 12 rounds? I think so. I think it's a possibility, and I think Mikey could get robbed, and now I'm even more concerned about that because seeing Tyson Fury, the pure boxer, beat Deontay Wilder, the puncher, and then you see Ugas, the pure boxer, beat the aggressive fighter, which is Sean Porter, and then you see, Matt Korobov beat Jamal Charlo, but yet they robbed all three of these guys. It makes you feel like there's an issue with this. It makes you feel like the pure boxer and Mikey Garcia could get robbed against an Errol Spence, who's not the pure boxer in this case. Porter knows he lost. His reaction said it all. Danny Lopez, you're absolutely right. Angel the Upset Rivera says, I'm not going to lie. Sean fought a smart fight, but he did not win that fight. I agree. Jessica states, this shit was fixed. Then because Thurman wants a rematch, and remember Thurman in camp versus Josecito, he said he don't sleep on Ugas. He was right. You're absolutely right. I agree with you on that one, Jessica. Brendan says Heyman is using Mikey as a stepping stone for Spence. I believe so. I mean, look at if you look at the fights that Spence wants to fight next. Look at what he wants to fight. He wants to fight Sean Porter, who he knows is very beatable, especially after last night. He wants to fight a Keith Thurman, who looks very beatable after Josecito. And he also wants to fight a Manny Pacquiao who's already been beat, but Manny Pacquiao who's past his prime. He wants easier fights, but notice he's not mentioning Terrence Crawford. He's staying in the hell away from Terrence Crawford. He does not want to fight Terrence Crawford. David Diaz, I see you. What's up? Randy C. I honestly thought PBC would give it to Ugas so they can put him in there with Spence if he gets past Mikey, so that Spence can get the WBC belt and Keith would have no choice but to fight Spence. Now, Randy, that's an interesting thought, but the problem with that thought is, what if Ugas, because Ugas doesn't have a contract with PBC. Remember, he's a free agent. He doesn't have the loyalty that Sean Porter and Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman has. So what if ESPN Top Rank offered Ugas a multi-million-dollar contract to come fight Terrence Crawford on ESPN? They didn't want Ugas to cross that street, because what happens if Ugas crossed that street? This is all about Terrence Crawford. They want to give the easiest fights to Errol Spence should he get past Mikey Garcia, and that's what this is all ultimately coming down to. Kurt Santos states, I'm worried for Mikey. They might do the same thing. I'm worried too. I'm starting to be very concerned about that. Ugas is Spence's #1 contender, and a lot of people forgot that Errol Spence Jr., instead of fighting Yordenis Ugas as the #1 contender, he fought the number 15th ranked fighter in a Carlos Ocampo, who's a domestic level Mexican fighter who he should not have been fighting. So why would they bump the 15th ranked contender up to #1 status? They're protecting Errol Spence. They're trying to make him into a superstar, and they're trying to feed him easy, light touches. That's really what's going on. And Daniel Smith, Spence wants to fight Manny. Absolutely. Let's just keep going. And look, I see you, D3440 says at least Tony Harrison got the W he deserved. Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes you can't rob everybody. You can't bribe everybody. You can't get past every judge. Sometimes things happen out of their control, and Harrison deserves that. He got a unanimous decision win. So all of the judges saw that easy. There was no messing around in that. Let's keep going. I see you, Sergio Contreras. What's up, IBFP? Love your unboxing analyst. Thank you, brother. Elmas Loco. I felt Porter lost, but you casuals are throwing the word robbery around too much. You can't throw the word robbery around, Elmas. And the only reason why I say that is if a guy's deserving of winning a fight, then if he gets anything less than the win, it's a robbery. The guy worked his whole life to get the world title. He worked the whole life. I see you, Thone Boxing. PBC doesn't have real talent in order to keep their stable looking good. They have to cheat. No one actually good fighter they have that's not some kind of gimmick. I agree. I mean, because who on the PBC roster would you rank above Terrence Crawford? I don't see anybody that I put above Terrence Crawford. El Superior, I see you. Nuke, tell him how Spence never fought a harder puncher than Mikey. Name a fighter that hit harder than Mikey that Spence fought. Brook, Algieri, Bundu, Peterson. And I agree. And a lot of people will give Kell Brook the hardest puncher, you know, and say, oh, he's a harder puncher than Mikey Garcia. That's the argument these fanboys will make about Kell Brook. Let me explain to you guys something about Kell Brook. Kell Brook couldn't drop Sean Porter, who kept coming in. Yordenis Ugas did. And even Adrian Broner did. And Adrian Broner wanted no part of Marcos Maidana, and damn sure didn't want any part of Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia would have dropped Adrian Broner easy, but Adrian Broner ran for his life that entire fight. Zitmo1, I see you. Salute. Hector Martin, I see you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Junior Australia, Oxnard in the house. I see you, Junior. Good to see you, brother. Ugas could have hung with Spence just on his size and strength. Absolutely. And Spence would have got caught a lot coming in for body shots. And not only that, Spence would have got hit to the body by Yordenis Ugas' great body work. I mean, have we ever seen Errol Spence Jr. get hit to the body by those same shots that Ugas was hitting Porter with? Because those shots had some sting on them. They had Porter backing up. They had Porter running. When have you ever seen Porter not come in crazy? Let's see, Hector Martin, why people trip no matter who wins. What do any of y'all get? Doesn't affect any of you. Now, I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, this is boxing. This is a sport. And you know why people get upset? Because everybody pays their hard-earned money to go see these events. People pay their hard-earned money to support these fighters. Everybody wants the entertainment that they pay for to be on the up and up. That's really what it is. Charlie G, I see you. Thank you, Junior Australia, breaking the facts, brother. This is Lueva 3323. I knew you'd break down the Ugas robbery just like I thought you would. The only thing I had different was I think it was 9-3, and that's still being kind. And honestly, I agree with you on that. And I just tried to give Porter more rounds, even though I had him losing. I thought it was a clear loss. I don't even think it was close. Jitmo says Ugas looked visibly stronger than Porter. I agree. Daniel B. Hey, brother, are you going to upload the entire live chat? I missed most of it. Absolutely, brother. This will be uploaded right after. Don't worry. Angel Rivetta says these fanboys are incredible nuke. They base the truth on straight lies. I've come to the conclusion that people are so biased when it comes to the truth. You're absolutely right. People don't want to see the truth right in front of them. Junior Australia, was that a legitimate knockdown? Ugas hit him in the back of the head. What do you think? I think it was a legitimate knockdown. And you know what? If a guy's moving his body away from you because he's running in your glove, because he could have been aiming for his jaw, he could have been aiming for his face, and when you move, you don't know where it's going to land. But the fact that it hit this guy, it's a knockdown. I don't care what anybody says. I do not care. That's ridiculous. Darkness Has Fallen said, dude, I can see the judges already favoring Errol from watching the Porter Ugas fight. I can see that too. They're going to favor a guy because they want, this is Errol's hometown, and it also makes me think, are they going to give him the hometown benefit? Sean Burke, oh, let's get him. He says, why are you so confident in Mikey? He barely beat Lipinets. Now let's go on this. How many rounds did Mikey Garcia lose against Sergey Lipinets, Sean? Let's debate, Sean. How many rounds did Mikey Garcia lose in that fight? Because there was a couple of close rounds. He said 6. You're okay. You're a casual. You're a casual. You're a casual. You expose yourself. If you think that Mikey Garcia lost 6 rounds, you're a casual boxing fan. You don't understand boxing. You don't watch boxing. Mikey Garcia dominated that fight. When I say dominated that fight, the only thing that Mikey Garcia had was a couple of close rounds, and he dropped Sergey Lipinets in that fight. That's the problem. You people send the thing, and this is the thing I don't understand about casual fans, is that when Mikey Garcia dominates a fight by winning round after round, that doesn't mean that a round can't be close. That doesn't mean that Sergey Lipinets doesn't, do anything well. Sergey Lipinets was 160 pounds on. He was a middleweight the night of that fight. And Mikey Garcia stated after that fight, had Sergey Lipinets came in more aggressive, he would have stopped him. You don't know boxing. Then the knockdown and win him the fight, that means you're a troll, bro. You're a troll. That's really what this is, bro. You're a troll. You're a Spence fan, and you're just in your feelings, and you want to come in here and discredit Mikey because no one in their right mind ever thought that was a draw, basically, with Lipinets. Even Lipinets said that Mikey Garcia surprised him. Even Lipinets said that Mikey Garcia beat him thoroughly. Lipinets didn't argue for a draw. Lipinets didn't say it was a robbery. Lipinets didn't say this, but yet you are. That's how I know you're a troll. 6 rounds, that's ridiculous. Mikey Garcia, in my opinion, won at least 10 rounds. 10 rounds. 10 rounds, and the other 2 that he did lose were extremely close. Extremely. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. This is El Mas Loco says, Mikey ran away with that fight easy. He got hit a bit, but nothing major, and clearly outclassed Lipinets. Absolutely. Guys are going to get hit. See, the way Mikey Garcia fought Sergey Lipinets is not going to be the way that Mikey Garcia fights Errol Spence. Lipinets can't hit Mikey the way that Spence can, because Spence is a weight bully at 147 pounds. Spence belongs at 154 at minimum. So that's really what it is. Did you happen to watch Bivol versus Smith? I had it 117, 111, D 34, 40. Absolutely, I seen that. Bivol did a solid job. He did a great job, and I can't wait to see Bivol in his next fight. It's good to see him on the zone and see all these HBO boxers get signed with the zone. It's a great thing for the sport, brother. Joseph Smith said, say that Mikey gets the win. Who do you see him fighting next? With Mikey Garcia, I think he might fight Manny Pacquiao next. I think he might fight another welterweight with a belt next, such as, a Thurman, because Keith Thurman might think that Mikey Garcia is sweet. And I know that for a fact because Keith Thurman and Mikey Garcia, see, before Mikey Garcia was calling out Errol Spence, he was calling out Keith Thurman. He said he wanted Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman said, you're not ready for me. I'm a natural welterweight. You need to do something. If he goes steals Errol Spence Jr.'s belt and puts on a show in Dallas, like I expect him to do, it's going to be a tough, hard, close fight. I think that Keith Thurman would have to be the next natural fit because Keith Thurman thinks, oh, I can counter Mikey. And we all know Keith Thurman is very suspect when it comes to the chin. Josecito proved that, and he don't have half the skills that Mikey has. Even Josecito says he's never been hit harder by someone than Mikey Garcia. Let's be honest and unbiased. JB says, who do you think Crawford ends up with next? Crawford ends up with whoever that does not duck him. That's who Crawford ends up with. See, Terrence Crawford, he's so good that guys don't want to fight him. No one wants to fight him. I think that if Terrence Crawford offers a huge bag to Mikey Garcia, he'd make him think about taking the fight because I know Mikey ducks no smoke when it comes to these guys. Sean Burke is back on his fanboy stuff saying this is Mikey's first A-level fighter. Is this Spence's first A-level fighter? Because Spence has never fought a fighter that's even an elite fighter, that's an A-level fighter, or even a B-level fighter. Kell Brook was coming off a knockout loss in a broken eye socket, could not be considered an A or B-level fighter at that point. I'm sorry. That was a drained Kell Brook, and he couldn't even make weight again the next fight. Get out of here. I just think that you're a big Spence fan, and that's okay, brother. But at the end of the day, you got to speak facts. You got to speak facts. Mikey's a 4-division world champion. He has elite level skills that transcend weight classes. He's just beat 2 undefeated world champions in different weight classes in a row. Get out of here. When you have facts, come to me. Junior Australia said Bivol got rocked in the 11th round. He's vulnerable. Any thoughts, Snoop? I think that's very interesting. I think against a Sergey Kovalev, he could be in danger. He could be in trouble. I see you, Pez. What's up, bro? I'm doing good, brother. Brook was not A-level. A guy coming off a knockout loss in a broken eye socket is not A-level. What A-level win does Kell Brook have? Because he barely beat Sean Porter, and most people thought he lost that fight. Let's be honest and unbiased. And who else did Brook beat? A bunch of bums on his resume. Poncho S14, Jose Ramirez versus Regis. Ooh, that's interesting. Glenn Rodwell, how do you think Triple G's career goes from here, man? I think Triple G can have a very successful career. He just got to come back focused, strong, ready, hungry, and he got to get the right opponents at the right time. And he has to be extremely aggressive because that's how he's been most successful. Of course, Sean Burke, you don't like Spence. You're just being real. That means you probably got a Spence poster on your wall. I know what it means when you say you don't like Spence. You're just being real. Because I like Spence, but I'm just being real. That's the problem with your statement. Let's keep going. Elmas, Sean Burke, a casual. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brook didn't school Porter. Brook was holding Porter. But let's just be honest and unbiased. Pez says, thoughts on Daniel Dubois' performance Friday. Now, Daniel Dubois is an interesting fighter. I think Daniel Dubois, I'm just ready for him to step up in competition. That's really what I want to see. Luis Mosqueda says, Mikey should not give Errol Spence a rematch. So if Mikey Garcia wins, do you want to go ahead and see the Errol Spence Jr. rematch? I think that's going to be something. And you know what's interesting? For everybody who thinks that Errol Spence Jr. is just going to easily win this fight, do you not know that Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia have already had talks, preliminary talks, about a potential rematch? Now, if they thought this was just an easy fight, come on. Come on. If they thought it was an easy fight, then why would you already have talks about a rematch? That'd be an incredible rematch. Let's see here. Lueva323 says, Khan going past 9? Question mark. I think Amir Khan can make it to 9 rounds. I think he can make it to 9 rounds. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will. I don't know if Amir Khan will. I'll say my prediction that Terrence Crawford to get Amir Khan out of there between the 7th and 10th round, because Amir Khan is an elite level type of boxer purely, but he's not an elite fighter because his chin is too suspect. It's too weak. I think Ugas would have knocked out Khan in that fight. And I mean, if he would have fought Khan, I think Ugas would have knocked him out. I really do. I just the way I see it. Will Spence give Mikey a rematch? No. I don't think Spence will want to give Mikey a rematch after this if Mikey loses. And because that means Mikey will expose him. But I think the money talks because Spence will think, well, you know, and you know, he'll probably still be very confident in some aspects and some not. So he might just avoid it. Terrence counters on Khan's chins and knocks him out. Absolutely. I see that happening. Trav, I see you. Spence Garcia, I'm not going to be at it, brother. I'm not going to be able to make it. Pez, who do you think Fury will face next? I would love to see him fight Dillian White, but I doubt that will happen. Ooh, that's interesting. I would love to see that happen, especially since these guys are both talking ESPN. I think Fury's taking a tune-up, and Dillian White is already reportedly to take a tune-up. So that's what we're going to do. Marcus Garcia, I see you. So I see Fury taking a tune-up, White taking a tune-up, and those two guys can meet later in the year. I think that would make more sense. Let's see, Danny Lopez, your thoughts on David Benavidez' comeback? I think David Benavidez is an entertaining fighter. highlight reel type of fighter. I can't wait to see David Benavidez get a really good fight in front of him. Somebody like Caleb or someone like that. I want to see the best out of him. I want to see the kid be a star. Let's see. He gonna fight Parker, says Randy C. Tyson Fury. That's a lot. That's what the talk is, bro. John Hawthorne says, if Wilder really signs with DAZN, White isn't leaving Hearn. That would be very interesting. And White would be crazy to leave Hearn. I even think that White leaving Hearn makes no sense right now. I just don't. I think that Hearn is the best move for him. Ugas versus Thurman or Porter versus Thurman. Poncho S14. I think Ugas beats Thurman right now. Thurman looks extremely vulnerable. I think that Ugas is a very good boxer. He has a lot of pop, and he was able to hurt Porter. I think that would be very, very, very big. Marcus Garcia, Benavidez sleeps Caleb Plant. I think that's very likely. I think Plant outboxes Benavidez at parts in that fight, but I think Benavidez catches him up to him in the later rounds and stops him. Just for the simple fact that I've seen Plant hurt against Jose Uzcategui. Angel the Upset Rivetta, Nuke, what's the rematch clause on Spence Garcia? You know, they haven't came out and stated any rematch clause. They're being really mum on that. So I think these guys are really kind of being, you know, shy on that, depending on how the fight goes and how close it is and who wins and how they win. It's all going to matter on whether there's a rematch and how it goes down. Glenn Rodwell said, what is it with Dante's Boxing Nation? He just insists on hating on Triple G. And there's no reason to hate on Triple G. Triple G is a top-level fighter. And see, the reason why he hates on Triple G is because he's fanboying for Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo's not half the fighter that Triple G is. I think that'll be the perfect fight. Why is Jamal Charlo not trying to fight Triple G? If he's so bad, why is he not moving over to the zone? Why is he not making that fight happen? Explain that to me. Who should Josecito fight next? That'll be interesting. If there's no... Sean Porter should fight Yordenis Ugas next, but if he doesn't fight Ugas next, I think that Josecito should be trying to get in the running of that because Porter looked extremely vulnerable, didn't make weight. That's a problem. Daniel Smith says, I think Bud Crawford beats all of them. I think so too. I think Bud Crawford beats these guys. These guys don't want to fight Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford, they have to be some incentive for these guys to fight Bud Crawford. These guys don't want to fight the best or they would fight him. Let's see who we got on the line. He knows his sport. Ugas won. He got his ass straight up robbed. I agree with you. For the first time in your life, you're right, brother. Your first time in your life, you're right. Your first time. Congratulations. Somebody get this guy a cookie. Let's keep going. Now, what do you guys think about Jose Benavidez? David Diaz says, Teofimo is the future of boxing. Teofimo is special, man. Every time I see a Teofimo fight, he puts somebody to sleep. That is crazy. That is crazy. Crawford versus Hooker. That's easy work for Crawford. That's easy. Crawford puts him to sleep easy. It's not even close. Not even close. Angel the Upset Rivetta says, I love Triple G and the Charlos got exposed. They were some tame kittens right now. Triple G would destroy both of the Charlos in the same night. Absolutely easy work for Triple G. Gennadi's a special fighter, and people think that what Canelo or Danny Jacobs can do with Triple G ain't the same. He knows the sport said you agree with me. Remember at the end of our debate yesterday, I called Ugas by upset. I believe D. Jefferson called Ugas by upset, and you piggybacked on that. But I respect you, brother. I respect you. You piggybacked on D, but I respect that. Daniel Smith says Teofimo or Gervonta Davis. Ooh. I'm going to have to go with Teofimo. I think Gervonta Tank Davis is a good fighter, but he's unproven. I think Teofimo keeps putting people to sleep. Guys go to sleep when they fight Teofimo. It's rare in boxing that you see someone sleep after being hit by a shot. Mr. De La Cruz 559, what's your feelings on Virgil Ortiz? I feel he's going to be a dominant champ. Absolutely. And the great thing about Virgil Ortiz is that he's with the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy under the same tutelage that Mikey Garcia is under with Robert Garcia, Big G, the whole camp. The guy's foot movement has improved. His boxing skill and IQ is improving. They're working more on his boxing than his power right now because they know the power is there and legit and real. So he's just developing and getting better and better. Now we got another question. Let's see what we got here. If Wilder didn't sign with DAZN, will the LDBC disown him? Will the slander of Hearn stop? Absolutely. If Wilder signs with DAZN, they're just going to ride Wilder's coattail to DAZN and just say, well, at least he's not with Eddie Hearn. It's being with the zone has never been about Eddie Hearn. These guys are trying to change the narrative because at first, remember, they said they're not going to download the garbage app. Now all of a sudden, they're watching the zone fights. They're watching Canelo Jacobs. They're going to watch, Deontay Wilder in his next bum bash. He Knows the Sport says, have you prepared your IBFP anxiety attack post-fight for March 16th when Spence will man down, strap season, flat nine, Hulk smash Garcia? There are no two ways around it. 5th round TKO stoppage, book it. I'm going to tell you this about He Knows the Sport. You're an interesting character. And the reason why I say that is that you're so convinced on Errol Spence winning this fight. Who has Errol Spence Jr. ever beat that was undefeated world champion? Just name one, and I'll give you credit. Name one. You can't. Maisie says, how can you say Davis is unproven but not say Teofimo is unproven? Well, the thing about it, the reason why I say that is that Teofimo is fighting guys that are actually in the weight class. Tank Davis are fighting guys moving up in weight that are small guys. That's the difference. That's the difference. Why are you not fighting guys? Kell Brook was not undefeated, sir. He had already been knocked out and with a broken eye socket and weight drain. Guess again. And name one fight that you've seen Errol Spence beat an undefeated world champion. Name one fight that you've seen Errol Spence Jr. face a guy who was an elite level boxer. He's never fought an elite level boxer. He's always fought come forward fighters or guys who didn't have the right style entering the ring or guys who had already been knocked out or guys with no power. Lamont Peterson had no power. He knows Lamont Peterson had no power. JB says, what do you think of Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson is the real deal. That kid is the real deal. He is on the IBFP watch list. That guy is going to be a problem. So when you talk about the Virgil Ortiz, Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis, you talk about Shakur Stevenson, you talk about Ryan Garcia, you talk about Devin Haney. These guys are the future. These guys are all the future. Angel the Upset Rivetta says He Knows the Sport is going to be on Suicide Watch on March 17th. Book it. And there's no two ways around that thing. He Knows the Sport says Brooke was undefeated at 47. What does that mean if you're coming off a knockout loss from 160? So you mean a guy coming down in weight all the way to 147 after sitting at 160 for a fight, coming off an eye surgery and a knockout loss, he's going to be the same fighter? He was damaged goods, bro. Get your facts straight. Get your facts straight. One Fly Boy says, chances of Loma versus Garcia are over, win or lose to Spence. That's the fight I'd rather have seen. I think that'll be a great fight. The only problem with that is, and I like Vasyl Lomachenko. I think he's an elite fighter, a very good fighter. The problem with that is I just don't think Vasyl Lomachenko really wants that work. Think about it. Why did Vasyl Lomachenko turn down the Manny Pacquiao fight? That would have been the best name on his resume if he would have got the win. It would have proven to the world how good or bad Vasyl Lomachenko really is. That would have shown so much. So much. He Knows says, I can't wait to see what y'all Mikey Garcia fanboys have to say post-fight March 16th. The one thing that we are going to say, the whole IBFP nation is going to say on March 16th after the fight is, and the new. Loma don't want Mikey. Absolutely, JB. I agree. El Mas Loco, Mikey knocks out Loma. Absolutely. Too strong, too fundamentally sound. Absolutely. Loma was getting hit by Jose Pedraza. Loma was getting hit by Jorge Linares. Imagine when Mikey Garcia hits this guy with some nicely timed shots. Mikey's going to stop him. Loma didn't need to take the Mikey fight if he wants to keep his reputation intact. Daniel Smith said Loma will get knocked out by Gervonta Davis. I think I'm the only one that sees it. He should fight him. Well, the problem with that is Gervonta Tank Davis has to take a fight. He's under Mayweather's tutelage. I don't see the guy taking any legitimate fights. Now he's in legal trouble. The guy got to get his life together. He got to get it together. That's essentially what it is. And let's see what we got. D. Jefferson, I see you. D. Jefferson, you were right on a prediction. He knows his sport is trying to take credit for your prediction, and I won't let him do it. He's trying to take credit from you, D. I'm not going to let him do it. D. Jefferson, get in the chat. Marcus Garcia, who should Triple G fight? Triple G's going to take a tune-up, and then I think he's going to probably fight someone like Andre or someone else. He's going to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's going to fight maybe the Canelo Alvarez, Danny Jacobs winner, or even the Canelo Alvarez, Danny Jacobs loser. That'll be interesting. Deed 3440. Do you think Noya Inoue is pound for pound number one in terms of punching power? I think so, because his knockouts are more impressive than Wilder's, and no one talks about this guy. You're absolutely right. No one talks about Inoue, but Inoue's punching power put guys to sleep, similar to Teofimo, and it's like he barely taps them. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be real interesting. I think Inoue is number one in punching power. He could be, bro. It's going to be hard to rate that compared to a lot of other guys, but he really could be. He's very special. I see you, D. D says, I know he is. He knows his sports. I agree. Little Mikey could beat Loma, and that's a fight he can actually win. But against Errol, the truth spent. So I'm asking you this, he knows. Is there anybody that can beat Errol Spence? Because you got Errol Spence beating Canelo. You got Errol Spence beating Crawford. You got Errol Spence beating Mikey. Who can beat Errol Spence, he knows? Who can defeat Errol Spence between 147 and 160? Because you saying he can beat Canelo. Can Danny Jacobs beat Errol Spence? Can Jared Hurd beat Errol Spence? Who can Demetrius Andre beat Errol Spence? Who can he beat? Be honest. D Jefferson says, I got him and I went on his channel. Good job. Good job, D. Let's see. Don't sleep on Mikey. Danny Lopez, absolutely right. Lotto would whoop Spence easily. Absolutely. I think Lotto would completely outbox Errol Spence. And it wouldn't be close because the size would match up. But Crawford, Canelo Alvarez can beat Spence. The Gambit states. I agree. I agree. Okay, he knows the sports. I will tell you now. Prime Floyd. Man, get out of here. Slap yourself. You might as well slap yourself now. So the only person you think can beat Errol Spence between those weight classes is a Prime Mayweather. You done lost your mind. This proves that he knows the sport, don't know nothing about boxing. Because if you think the only person that can beat him is a Prime Mayweather, you about to be disappointed. Big time. And please don't fight Canelo, because Canelo will ruin Spence's career. David Diaz says, Porter, Thurman, Danny Garcia are bums. Just joking, but not really. Porter, Thurman, and Danny Garcia are all highly suspect right now. And I can see none of these guys wanting to fight Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is the boogeyman of the welterweight division. And you know, I don't like it when people call Errol Spence the boogeyman of the welterweight division, because that's fanboyism and that's lies. And I'm going to prove to you why it's lies. And the reason why it's a lie is because why is a guy moving up 2 weight classes to fight the boogeyman? That makes no sense. Mikey Garcia is daring to be great in fighting a good fighter in Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a good fighter, but he's not the boogeyman. Terrence Crawford is. Remember that. Augustine says he knows his sport is the Spence groupie. Absolutely. Marcus Garcia says Canelo will put Spence in a body bag. Let's see here. Look, Chris Girl says, I would like to see Spence fight Ugas. Now, could you guys put in the chat, put in the name in the chat, who wins, Ugas or Spence, if they fought today? Who wins, Ugas or Spence? Ugas or Spence? He knows his sport says Canelo is highly overrated. Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys, and their ass so far up to Cinnamon they can't see the light. So if Canelo's overrated, but not Spence. Come on, man. Come on. So Canelo's overrated. Al B says Spence by robbery. Randy C says Spence. Augustine says tough fight. Fidel Campos says Ugas. Ricardo Lopez. Shout out to Ricardo Lopez, my brother. Good to see you. He says slap yourself, Peter Quillen. Lueva323 says I really think Ugas, no bias. I am the Thone Boxing. Ugas. Spence would straight up body up Ugas. Come on. Ugas would body up Spence. That would be a good fight. D. Jefferson says Spence can be beat. I'm just not sure he'll be challenged that much at 47. Besides Bud, Spence has to fight at 154 to really test himself to show more. And that's a good analysis, D. We're going to see if he's really going to be tested at 47 by Mikey Garcia. That's what we're really going to see. I think Mikey can do it. David Diaz says Spence beats Ugas. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying Ugas has a legit chance to dethrone him, because Spence can, Ugas can box, and Ugas put in great body work. It's very, very possible, bro. Mr. De La Cruz 559 states, if Mikey wins, I feel like I feel he will. Do you think he will fight Crawford? That's a fight I'm having a hard time picking Mikey to win. I think that's a very good fight, an interesting fight. I'm a favorite Terrence Crawford in that fight slightly because I've seen Terrence Crawford's skills. But at the same time, if Mikey Garcia goes in there and stops Errol Spence or drops him easy, I think Terrence Crawford, that's a dangerous fight for Crawford. Because we're not going to look at Mikey the same should he beat Errol Spence Jr. We're going to see him in a whole new light. Randy C says, Yordini's Ugas is really good. I like what I saw, but I just don't like that he didn't want to take the initiative at all. And you know, that's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know. He knows the sports states. Let me see. He knows the sports state. Hold on, but you know the Ugas and Spence fight. That's a fight where styles make fights. So you know you're gonna see it where Spence is going to the body, but Ugas is going to the body. But Ugas can box. Spence can't box at the level that Ugas can't. He knows his sports says when Spence cleans out 147 division, you ultra fanboys will become believers then. Spence won't even fight Terrence Crawford. When has Spence ever mentioned Terrence Crawford after saying he won't fight on ESPN? He won't fight him. And he even came to the Maurice Hooker fight and said he's not interested in fighting him. He's interested in taking the easy road. Spence is already talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. He needs to mention Terrence Bud Crawford. That's what people want to see. Understand that. Stop ducking Terrence Crawford. D. Jefferson states Ugas winced at some of Porter's body work. I think Spence would break him down mentally in that fight. Well, I think that Ugas would see. This is the one thing, D, that I don't think you and a lot of other people don't realize is that people will not fight Errol Spence Jr., who goes to the body and goes in and in and in, will fight the exact same way in the exact same style. They're not going to fight Errol Spence that way. Ugas is going to move a lot more laterally, and he's going to do things differently. Little Chris Girl says Crawford versus Ugas would be interesting. That's a 50-50 fight. Let me explain to you guys something about Yordenis Ugas versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Yordenis Ugas beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs. Terrence Crawford beat Mikey Garcia in the amateurs. There's a lot of things. And who beat Errol Spence in the amateurs? Who beat him? You know who beat Errol Spence in the amateurs? There's a few guys. Do you guys know who beat him? Because these guys aren't elite level boxers like Terrence Crawford or Mikey Garcia. Do you guys know who beat Errol Spence Jr. in the amateurs? Jay Beasley says, unless Spence is a janitor, he's not cleaning anything. And how's this strap season when you don't want to fight? When you don't want to fight Terrence Bud Crawford? How's that strap season? Brian Constano beat him. Omar Figueroa beat him. These are the two guys. Shout out to Yo Son and JB. So the two guys that beat Errol Spence Jr. are guys who are good at body work. Come on. So you're saying Yordenis Ugas couldn't do it? A naturally bigger guy? Come on. Be open-minded. These guys will not fight with the same approach they would fight. Elmas Loco said, I feel you a little too hard on Wilder, but you straight up abusing he knows this sport guy. You know, I like Deontay Wilder. I think he's a very entertaining fight, but I just don't like when Wilder tries to state that he's trying to make a fight when he's clearly not, when he's clearly ducking the smoke. If Wilder's just trying to fight the best, but he's not, you know, and he loses or wins or whatever, I give him full credit. Just fight the best, but don't sit out here and perpetrate all these lies about what you're trying to do when we know you're really not trying to get that work. Not right now, anyway. Yes, that is the dude that fought Lara. So, yes, that's Brian Castano is the guy who beat Errol Spence in the amateurs. Also, Omar Figueroa, who just fought Molina. David Diaz, thank you. We appreciate you too, brother. Daniel Smith said, I think Wilder ducking Joshua. Absolutely. Wilder been ducking AJ. He's been ducking AJ. He has been ducking AJ. That's a fight where he really don't want that smoke. Leonardo Navarrete says AJ needs to start acting like he the A side. He has to act like the A side. You know, at this point, there's no point in trying to call him out. Him throwing boxing. Where's Tony Yoka? I think Tony Yoka is suspended for a PED test. I believe. I think that's it. Shout out to Boxing Monster. What's up, brother? Thank you, brother. Ugas is a serious contender at welterweight. Absolutely. Ugas is a top 5 fighter at welterweight. And you know what? If Sean Porter does not want to rematch Yordenis Ugas, Terrence Bud Crawford needs to fight him next. That would be a great fight. And if Terrence Crawford beats Ugas, then we'll know what's real. Because then you can't take it away because we know Ugas was robbed by Porter. So you can't take it away. And Ugas is no pushover. Ugas is a problem. But Ugas and Sean Porter's a paper champ from this point on out until he rematches Ugas. And you know, I have a problem with Jarrett Hurd too. Jarrett Hurd is looking to move up to 160 after fighting his next fight against a potential Charlo Tony Harrison winner, but that means he's never going to rematch Erislandy Lara. So we all know that a lot of guys had Lara winning that fight by a round or two, and I was one of them. But the fact that Jarrett Hurd promised him a rematch, never gave it to him, shows that he ducked Lara and is moving up to 160. But you know what? The problem with Hurd, he won't be successful at 60. Mark my word, Jarrett Swift Hurd will get knocked out at 160 pounds. He will get knocked out at 160. Mark my words, book it. In one of his first few fights and step-up fights at 160, he's getting knocked out. Hurt is getting knocked out by Danny Jacobs, Demetrius Andre, Canelo Alvarez, any of the top 5 fighters, he's getting knocked out, period. D. Jefferson said, I'm not sure how effective Hurt will be at 160. I agree. He's a weight bully. Look, Chris Girl, Hurt is a coward. Let's keep going. JBZ, hey, Nuke, what do you think about F.A. Ajaba? F.A. Ajaba is a great, great young prospect. I think he's very interesting, very strong. And I think in another year or so, he'll be ready for these top-level contenders. He just put on a great performance. That guy got some pop and crack in his shots. Absolutely. Rob34 lights out says, IBFP, did you see Porter's face? He knows he lost. Absolutely. Sean Porter wasn't celebrating or nothing. Didn't raise his hand, had his head down. He know they robbed Ugas. We know it. This is how we know Wilder know he lost to Fury, because after that Fury fight, he never screamed out "Bomb Squad." He didn't scream out any of that. He didn't scream any of it, bro. Thank you, Trav. Thank you, brother. He knows. Sports said we agree on F.A. Ajaba. Absolutely, but he knows. Let me ask you a question about Spence. Who do you want? Let's say Errol Spence beats Mikey Garcia. Who do you want to see Errol Spence fight next? And do you agree if Spence doesn't call out and try to fight Terrence Crawford to unify titles, then he's not a man of his word, he's not really strap seasoned, and he's not looking for the Terrence Crawford smoke? Do you agree with that, yes or no? Do you agree with that, yes or no? Where you at, he knows? Peter Quillen. Somebody get Peter Quillen on the line. I need Peter Quillen to answer. If he does not fight Terrence Crawford next, T knows the sport, Keith Thurman, then Crawford. Man, shut up. Peter Quillen then lost his mind. So Peter Quillen is trying to be a Errol Spence protector. That's what he is. He knows this sport is an Errol Spence protector. D. Jefferson, get on the line. Who do you want to see Errol Spence Jr. fight next? Who do you want to see? And D. Jefferson, I need you to enter in the chat. Who should Errol Spence fight next if he beats Mikey? Come on, because Thurman ain't ready. Thurman ain't ready for the best. Thurman ain't the best. Thurman ain't never been undisputed at any weight class. Thurman looked vulnerable against Josecito. Thurman ain't ready. D. Jefferson, I need you in the chat. Tell me who should Errol Spence Jr. fight should he beat Mikey Garcia. Be honest and unbiased. It has to be Terrence Crawford. Shout out to Remy Lokes, Crawford. Augustine, he needs to fight Thurman or Crawford. He needs to fight Crawford first. Crawford's calling for the fight. Crawford. Mr. De La Cruz, 559, Crawford. Randy C, Crawford. JB, Crawford. That's the fight that people wanted to do. The best fighting the best. The best fighting the best. So if he beats Mikey, he needs to go fight Crawford. The man that called him out, he said strap season, right? If he said strap season, then why is he not fighting for anybody's belts? Because Manny Pacquiao ain't got the belt. Mr. De La Cruz, Spence don't want it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And these fanboy boxing channels won't call it out. Dante's Bias Nation won't call it out. Bias Ego won't call it out. And Marcus Garcia is not going to beat Mikey, though, Nuke. Absolutely. That's what I agree. Mikey's going to change the game on all of this. But we're going to do the hypothetical just to see how much these fanboys are fanboys. So I don't think you're a fanboy, D, but I'm just asking you. D. Jefferson, get in the chat. Who do you want to see Errol Spence fight next if he gets past Mikey Garcia? Augustine says Thurman under the same promotion company. No excuses. And, you know, at the end of the day, Thurman's going to keep ducking that fight. Thurman don't want that. Thurman don't want it. Trav D said, don't worry, bro. When Mikey beats Spence, we'll get number 1 versus number 2 pound for pound. Crawford versus Garcia. That's the fight we all want to see. D. Jefferson said, Pacquiao is a legend, so I can't blame him for wanting that fight, but he should fight Bud. He should fight Bud first. Before he do anything, he needs to fight Bud. He needs to fight Bud. Because you know that's a pay-per-view. Bud's offered Danny Garcia $5 million for the fight. So imagine what Spence could get. Shout out to Vicente Ochoa. What's up for Omaha? Shout out to Omaha, Nebraska in the building. David Diaz says, if Mikey gets robbed, Spence should go fight Crawford. I think Spence don't want to fight Crawford. I think this is what I think Errol Spence's plan is. I think Errol Spence Jr. plans to fight Mikey Garcia, and if he robs and beats Mikey Garcia some kind of twisted way, what's he going to do is he's going to try to avoid Terrence Crawford. He's going to try to fight Porter and Thurman and Garcia, and then he's going to move up to 154 and try to duck the Crawford fight. That's why we need that Crawford fight right away, because he's not wanting it. They're doing the same thing they're doing with Gervonta Tank Davis, trying to age out Vasyl Lomachenko. They're trying to age out Terrence Crawford. These guys don't want to fight. And Deontay Wilder aging out himself. Wilder is terrified of AJ. Says IBFP Spence will say he can't make the weight watch. That's what I'm saying. Spence is going to move up to 154 before he really wants to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Thurman ducking Crawford too. Absolutely. Thurman said Crawford ain't doing this, he ain't doing that, but he won't fight him. But you'll fight Josecito Lopez, but you won't fight Terrence Crawford for a belt. Makes sense of that. Remy Lopes, damn you, Peter. Where's Peter Quillen? Where is Peter Quillen? Peter Quillen, get in the chat. You ain't got no excuses. No excuses for Fanboy and for Spence. I know that's your favorite fighter. You got his pictures on the wall. You got some Errol Spence the Truth draws on, but you need to step up and call for the best. He knows his sport. Says, what will you guys say when Spence beats Crawford? Answer my question to you, Ultra Fanboy. If Spence beat Crawford, I'll give him the respect. I'll say he's the best at 147, no doubt. But what will you say when Mikey beats Spence? What will you say when Crawford beats Spence? What will you say when Spence is exposed? Will you say Spence was a hype job then? Will you say that? Get in the chat and answer that. Daniel Smith says, not only that, Crawford is #1 pound for pound list. Why not fight him? They don't want that smoke. Absolutely. Carlos Cueva says he has to get in there with Crawford, Fanboy. Absolutely. He knows sport. That ain't happening. But hypothetically, what if it does? Will you say Errol Spence was hyped? Just be honest and unbiased. Marcus Garcia says if Mikey doesn't get the job done, Crawford will. Shout out to Marcus Garcia, always keeping it a buck. Boxing Monster, shout out. Spence ain't beating Crawford. I agree. Thomas Banks, if Mikey beats Spence, who should he fight next? If Mikey beats Spence, since Mikey's a smaller guy, I think Mikey should end up fighting Porter, Thurman, or Crawford. We would love to see Mikey fight any of those guys because Mikey's not a natural 154-pounder. Errol Spence is. And Mikey Garcia's saying isn't strap season. Errol Spence saying is strap season. So be honest and unbiased. Charlie G, Mikey Garcia making history. I agree. Daniel Smith, Derek James is the reason Charlo lost that fight. Absolutely. Do you guys think that Jermell Charlo loses the Tony Harrison fight, or does Tony Harrison beat him in a rematch? Because that fight is happening. So who wins that rematch? Tony Harrison or Jermell Charlo? I'm sorry. Mikey needs to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko needs to get a big fight soon. Lomachenko shouldn't have turned down Manny Pacquiao. That's what Lomachenko should have did. If Lomachenko would have beat Manny Pacquiao, people would have banged down his door to come get it. That's what they would have did. Yeah, I got a JB says Charlo. Robert Gonzalez says Harris. Walter's Terrified said Harris jabs. Charlo back to Houston. Woo! JB says Loma ducked Mikey. Oh, interesting. The Gamma says Harrison wins again. He really exposed Charlo. Absolutely. Charlie G says Harrison. One fighter says strap season with his mouth. The other says strap season with his action. Spence, Mikey. Let's go. Mr. De La Cruz 559. Shout out. This is getting serious. This is getting serious. Shout out to Manny Mota. That's right. That's right. Lomachenko, according to Mikey, Loma has already fights. You just made excuses for Loma versus Mikey. No excuses. Best fights the best. Well, first of all, Mikey Garcia is fighting at 147 pounds. What are you talking about? Mikey Garcia is fighting a better fighter than Lomachenko at this point as far as the weight division. So that's a bigger challenge for Mikey Garcia than Lomachenko is. Lomachenko was dropped by Jorge Linares. How is that an excuse? Mikey Garcia might not even be able to make 35 again. Mikey Garcia could be going to 40 or stay at 47. What are you talking about, Mr. Martin? D. Jefferson says Mikey should fight Bud next. Daring to be great would be nothing less than Bud. Next, Porter, Thurman, or Pac are not daring fights for Mikey. Well, you got to think about it. Anything at 47 is a dare for Mikey. Because at that point Mikey's already at the top of the hill. But if Mikey does win, I prefer to see him fight Bud next. So I give you that, D. I think Mikey or Spence should fight Bud next. I think that the winner of Mikey Spence should be in line to fight Terrence Crawford. That should be the ultimate goal for anybody at 47 is fighting Terrence Crawford, period. Dante, according to Rodrigo Colin says, Dante still believes Jamal Charlo beats Canelo. Dante's it got to be smoking crack, because if he thinks that, then he don't know anything about boxing. Fury versus White, who wins? I think that's an interesting matchup. I'm giving the edge to Tyson Fury because of pure boxing ability, because he can go 12 rounds. He can be extremely hard to hit, but I wouldn't count White out because I know if White lands a good shot, he could put Fury down. And that's the truth. Albie says if Harrison wins, send Charlo back to the amateurs. Don't speak his name ever again. Absolutely. Bayern One says Canelo makes Charlo quit with a body shot. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Okay, guys, at this time in the chat, we're about to wrap up. So before we wrap up, let's go ahead and get in all the questions. So shoot me those quick fire questions. It's quick fire time. Any questions you got, quick fire. Let's go. He Knows the Sport says, I'm trying to call in, but you have it and you don't want that. No, brother, we don't need your voice today. We'll hear your voice Saturday before the Mikey Spence fight, and then we might do another live after the Mikey Spence fight, so you can slap yourself live for the fans. Let's keep going. The quick fire questions. So let's go. What's your feeling on the Rolly versus Garcia drama, Mr. De La Cruz? Oh, that's interesting. No comment right now. My team over yours says Mikey has to choose between Crawford, Loma, the number 1 and number 2 pound for pound. What a decision. Absolutely. I'd pick Crawford. EJ depends on how hungry Harrison is. Watch your mouth. H-Town, stand up. Face reveal, Ivan Ramirez. Face reveal for who? Me? I don't know if you want to see my face. I don't know. You sound like He Knows the Sport a little bit, Ivan. Big Baby and Joshua. That's a good fight. AJ stops him. Gervonta versus Teofimo. I'm leaning for Teofimo to stop Tank. Marcus Garcia says we don't need your voice today. To He Knows. Shout out to Marcus Garcia. Carlos Cuevas said Bivol versus Canelo at 168. Who you got? I'm leaning towards Canelo based off skills. Bivol's not a huge 175 pounder. Bivol doesn't have the skills Canelo has. I think Canelo edges it. Money Luna, Teofimo is the future. Junior Moreno, so he can slap himself. Absolutely. D. Jefferson, who you have in Charlo Harrison? I'm leaning towards Harrison because the boxer typically does better in the rematch. D. Gervonta or Farmer? I'm leaning towards Farmer, man. Farmer's been showing me a lot, and I think it's a 50-50 fight because Tank has not been fighting up to the standard he needs to, missing weight, getting in legal trouble. Farmer seems focused, seems active, seems ready. He's going to be a problem, Junior. Boxing Monster, are you hanging out at Cowboy Stadium Saturday? You know, I haven't decided, but you never know, brother. We might have to we might have to show up and make an appearance. Augustine says, "Slap yourself, IBFP signature." He Knows the Sports say you saying that because you are 0-2 in the base, about to be 0-3. He Knows the Sports. You know you done lost every debate you never had with me, and D. Jefferson had to check you yesterday. D. Jefferson, I'm gonna need you to check him once again come this Spence fight. But JB, who you think the best fighter in the world? Forget pound for pound. Best fighter in the world? That's tough. That's tough. Best fighter in the world. Forget pound for pound. Ah, damn it, JB, you got me. It's going to come down to Terrence Bud Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. Those are the two best fighters in the world. Two best fighters in the world, hands down. And you know what? If Mikey Garcia pulls this off, he's on that list. Anthony Joshua got to be up there too because Anthony Joshua was dominating the heavyweight division and winning like you ain't never seen. Let's go. Teofimo and Tank. Ooh, that's a great fight. Tank won't take it, but I got Teofimo. Ortiz versus Joyce. Who wins? I got Joe Joyce beating Ortiz, but now, you know, both of these guys look unimpressive in their recent fights. So I'm still going to lean towards Joyce, but it's going to be an ugly fight. Junior Moreno says, when Mikey gets robbed, will it be a split decision or a draw? I think they do more of a draw than a split decision. I think they'll do a draw so Spence can keep his belt. And they can try to not damage Mikey too bad by messing up his record. But I think they'll try to do a draw when Mikey will clearly be the winner. Ivan Ramirez says, real question, though. If Jacobs doesn't beat Canelo, do you think anyone else can? At 160, if Jacobs doesn't do it, I favor Canelo over everybody if Jacobs can't do it. And that's just being honest. Demetrius Andre is going to be a whole new challenging ball game. He's going to be a problem. But Canelo hits so hard to the body, he's going to slow down Andre. Is Farmer winning this Friday? Absolutely. Daniel Smith says Ortiz win. Mikey badly hurt to drop Spence. Yes or no? All your money is on it. You know, there's nothing I'd ever put all my money on, but I'll tell you this. I think Mikey can drop Errol Spence in this fight. I know a lot of people don't believe me. I know D. Jefferson thinks that Mikey can't drop Spence. I think it's possible because I think Mikey can land a precision shot, accurate shots, and it's the shots you don't see that hurt you, and his boxing ability would do that for him. Leah Santa Cruz versus Oscar Valdez. I'm leaning towards Santa Cruz. Tank beats Farmer. G. Jefferson. Daniel Smith says Farmer slick as hell. That's a great fight, but I'm leaning Farmer, D. I'm leaning Farmer. All right. He knows the sports, then just lost his mind. He said Tank would body Teofimo now because he's too green 2 years from now. Different story. Teofimo would body him now. I'm so sorry. But anyway, guys, we're going to have to wrap up the chat. Thanks for tuning in. And please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe. D. Jefferson. Mikey may mess around and drop Spence. And when he does, I need the apology.